Hi. I'm just waiting to see whether or not it's going to let me go. Here we go. Hi, guys. I just thought I'd just jump on. Can't kind of see myself at the moment. It's a bit strange. I just thought I'd just jump on and do a live for you because I'm actually the next couple of weeks doing quite like a couple of lives, collaborative talks with a couple of amazing women, one being tomorrow, 10 a.m. My time, with Kerry from Align and Attract. So I thought I'd just jump on and just give this a kind of a little quick kind of practice run. And I also wanted to talk to you about the Mother Way, as well as a free course that I've got coming up in this beginning on the 8th of September. But kind of tying that into why it's so relevant right now to actually be joining that course. So it's kind of a weird time at the moment in the world. I'm sure everybody's sort of feeling the same way, and you can kind of understand what I'm talking about. It's all very different for everybody. I understand that, and everyone's in a very different situation across the world. But it is kind of really strange energy. As an energy healer, you know, the energy is quite interesting. First, I might just backtrack a little bit and just introduce myself, because I do have a number of people here on my page that are fairly new to my work. And so my name's Briony Montgomery, and I am the creator of the Mother Way, which was formerly Women's Inner Wisdom, which has been established. Women's Inner Wisdom has been established for about 10 years in the area of feminine health and wellness and embodiment. But my background is actually in I'm a natural therapist. I'm a body worker, massage therapist, aromatherapist, trained in nutrition and herbs. Excuse me, my daughter's here at the moment. And a Reiki master, energy healer. And I've been doing this work for about 15 years with clients, and 10 years through on the online world through Women's Inner Wisdom. But my story kind of goes back even further. 20 years ago, my mother died of cancer, and it was the catalyst for me to start on my path of healing, to start on my journey as a natural therapist and energetic healer. So when my mother died 20 years ago, you know, what I didn't realize where I'd be sitting right now is the fact that I started a journey of healing, to heal myself, because after my mother had died, I was quite filled with grief and self-doubt. Had a lot of inner conflict going on. I've had trauma from my childhood, abuse, and so when my mother died, it kind of illuminated a lot of areas in my life and in myself that were missing. And so I began a journey of reclamation, began a journey of calling back my sovereignty and empowering myself to learn about my body, learn about disease, learn about energy, learn about the metaphysical world, as well as the physical world, as well as the emotions. And so I started organically to work on how these different aspects of ourself fall into play and create our existence, create our life. So I then became a mother 13 years ago, and this, you know, to our son, and now I'm a mother of 4, married, and I live on a small farm in the Byron Bay hinterland. So I you know, we practice a lot of organic and sustainable farming practices. We try to. We're still learning, as a way of supporting our lifestyle and our philosophy around in the way that we live, and the values in the way that we live, and our reducing our footprint in the world. So the Mother Way, has been what was the roadmap that I created back 20 years ago, that I began creating 20 years ago, from healing my own mother wound, my own wounds in myself of feeling disconnected to who I was and who I was as woman, and then later on when I became a mother, who I was as mother. And I use the term unmothered woman a lot, or motherless woman. And I use this term because it's the best term to describe the kind of work that I do. And it's not just at the micro level of me not having my mother and having to be a mother or a woman without my mother, but it's also to having a very difficult relationship with my mother when she was alive, a very codependent relationship that was not a healthy relationship. So when she died, I lost a lot of myself in her death. But it's also at a global level of me not feeling, of women not feeling connected to themselves as women, connected to themselves as women as part of community, connected to the earth, connected to their belonging of where they come from, their lineage, their ancestors. And so it's actually the mother wound. When I talk about the mother wound and the unmothered women and the motherless women and mothers, I talk about a group of women who are not feeling that they're empowered within themselves. They're not feeling connected to who they are. They're not feeling rooted in their intuition, in their freedom to be who they want to be, to step into their power and create from their potential. And it's a wound. The mother wound and the unmothered woman is, it affects us as mothers. It affects us in our personal relationships. It affects us as daughters. It affects us as women in the community, and also to women relating to other women as well. This wound I found, the mother wound I found even in relation to women relating to women, in competitiveness and judgment and an immature feminine and toxic feminine that comes through with us comparing ourselves to each other and pulling each other down and judging each other for who we are, in that space of not feeling that we're enough or feeling that we're too much. So the mother way is a pathway into feeling that you are enough as you are, that everything you are right now, your emotions, your physical being, your relationships, everything you've got happening, the struggles and the triumphs and the challenges, and even globally and personally, are all part of this pathway of the mother way of finding yourself rooted into who you are at any time, at any point, with any challenge that you are faced with. So when I started to create this roadmap, I created this roadmap because I understood that I couldn't change what happened to me, and I couldn't change what was going to happen to me or the experiences that I was having as a woman. But what I could do is I could actually change my response to those situations and experiences. And what is a very constant for me, and has been a very constant through this whole roadmap of healing for 20 years, personally, professionally, through my study and qualifications, is that the one thing that I know more than anything is my map to myself, is my intuition, is my power in who I am as a woman and who I am as a mother. And that might not be the perfect map of what it is, or image of what it is to be woman and mother, but it's a power that I hold and that I root myself in daily. And it's a power that is rooted into the earth, and collectively, and one that I draw and feed back into. And it's a power source that keeps me clear and focused no matter what is happening in my life and no matter what's happening globally. So this is what I teach through the mother way, through healing the mother wound. And so right now in the world, just to kind of bring it into, relevance to what's happening right now, is that there is this sense in the world of there's a great grief that's hanging in the air all the time. And it's difficult for me to shake, except when I root myself back into myself. the grief of what has been, of what's coming, of where we are, of losing a lot of our freedoms, grief of losing our loved ones, of feeling that we've lost our sense of selves, and and who's supporting us here. There's a lot of fear as well in the collective, a lot of fear around government, around authority, around ways that have been existing for a long time that are no longer working, fear in the wounds that we're carrying, and fear in community of how we move in the community, how that, even where I live, how we are together in the community. And there's fear, and of course that's invoking a lot of emotion and a lot of aggression. The wind right now is pretty crazy here, and a sense of feeling abandoned by things, supports and systems that we thought that we could rely on, systems personally, globally, collectively, that we thought were sound, that are no longer sound, that are really on shaky ground, and a feeling of abandonment which is massive, of the earth. There's a great sense of where the earth's kind of, the mother's in pain, the mother's turned, and it's not that she's turned to hurt us or anything, but there's that sense of rootedness into the mother that's shaky now. Life is feeling very uncertain. The mother is feeling very uncertain, collectively and globally. And and that's in our systems. It's in the way we're moving. It's in the way that we're relating. It's in how we are building or not, or responding to what's happening in the world and in our lives at the moment. And so, there's the loss of control and what we thought was true that's energetically and collectively happening across the world. And I just wanted to give you a couple of things that I've been doing in order, that I'm going to share with you, in order for you to navigate these unusual, but seemingly very normal times, because it's becoming more regular and normal. This is our normal way in what, in how to navigate what's happening in the world. And so I would really, one point would be, I've got 3 points that I've got down that I've been using, and something that will be really helpful to you. So the first point that I've got is just being really careful with what you're plugging into and what you're watching. We have a no television rule in our house. We've had that for a very long time, on and off for many years, since we moved up into Byron Bay. And so it's about almost 9 years ago. And so we watch television, we watch movies, but we don't watch news. We filter our news content. We filter what sort of media outlets we're allowing the children to watch, and what kind of programming we're allowing the children to watch, as well as what we watch as adults too. It's not that we're not informed. It's not that we're not we've got our finger right on the pulse of what's happening in the world. My husband's a health worker, and he's in high management in health work, and so he's getting directives that are more advanced, and a few steps before the public actually are receiving, the health directives in Australia. So, or in New South Wales in particular. So we are very informed. We are very we're very open about what's happening in our house. We talk about it very openly with our children and as a family, but we are very careful about where our sources are coming from, who's created the source, and whether the source is reliable, and and checking the sources too, even from social media, double checking to make sure the validity of the stories are true, making sure where stories are coming from, making sure I can find breadcrumbs. And I've been caught out with that recently, and it was something I rectified in a post that I shared on Instagram. and on Facebook. So I'm checked now, the breadcrumbs are there, and it's valid with what I'm sharing, what I'm basing my information on, and how I'm making decisions from that information. So just being really careful with what you're plugging into, what you're listening to, where you're getting your news from, and not feeding the fear and feeding the the very draconian ways that are happening worldwide at the moment. I don't kind of want to go too much into that because that's all very personal. Everyone's very different, but just that that we need to navigate this time so that our freedom is not impinged or limited, and that we still have the right to make our own choices, and that's really important. The second point that I wanted to share with you is this is a really great time. This is a portal that's open, and this is a great time for growth and discernment. It's yes, there's fear, yes, there's uncertainty, but there is also opportunity here. And what I talk about with opportunity is, again, being discerning about what you're reading, what you're watching, what you're feeding into, what you're creating for yourself, and planting seeds of intention of what you want for you and your family, of what you want for your, for you right now, as well as moving into the future of what that looks like for you. So being an energy worker, energy follows intention. So I'm really very much aware of my thoughts, my feelings, my words, how I'm actually moving, how I'm creating, and I'm making sure that I'm double checking that everything is really aligned really clearly with what I want and who I am, what I want for my family, and where I'm going. So I've been making intentional, and you may have seen this through my social media, I have launched a new offering, the Mother Way, in this time. I have joined the BIPOC movement, and very actively anti-racist. I've joined a lot of self-growth and spiritual courses, and I'm doing lineage healing work, and I'm doing a lot of intentional work, and with a lot of different leaders across the world in the area of business and spiritual development, and also too for my family as well, because I'm very intentional at this time to create energy that is really clear with where I'm coming from, with where my family, where my center of access, where my intuition, who I am, what my family and the world that I want to build from here, where that actually sits. So everything for me is double cross. I'm checking over, I'm tuning in, I'm giving lots of time for reflection, quiet time, deep learning time. It's a really amazing portal to be able to step in and see the opportunity, not see the lack, see where the growth can happen, not see where things have fallen away. With every cycle of energy, for things to move and shift, there's got to be a dying there, parts of the self and parts of your life. There's got to be a shedding, and that's what's happening. And what I'm experiencing right now collectively is there's a great shedding that's been going on. And so what do you want for your future? What do you want for your now? Is everything kind of in your life, personally, professionally, in your relationships, everything lining up? Is everything coming from that center of access of what you're wanting to create for yourself and your family? Is it aligned with who you are as woman, who you are as a person, as a mother? Getting all those things really clear and intention, using meditation, using embodiment practices like being in the body, using your emotions, which is what I do a lot in circle work, and what I do a lot through client work and one-on-one sessions, and also will be through the Mother Way, checking the emotions. The emotions are portals into a deeper way and a deeper understanding of who you are, of what's happening for you in your body, of how you're moving forward, of it's just a great intelligence to actually use. And using different practices, writing practices, movement practice, dancing, singing, clearing out the channels, and really reflecting on where you are where you're at, where, you know, what this situation means for you at the moment, and how you can actually plant seeds in this for growth into the future. And the third really important point that I wanted to share with you today is to trust in who you are and trust in your intuition. We are being bombarded by so much information on every channel, socially, you know, in the news, in the community. There's a lot of opinion, there's a lot of experiences, a lot of stories being shared, and it's really like in this bombardment we can get really overwhelmed with what's going on, that we find it very difficult to tune in and hear our own inner voice. And our intuition is our power. It is rooted in our potential. It is our unique way. It is going into bat for us every single time we show up. So tuning in and finding space and finding your practices of what helps you to tune into that sense of who you are, of what your next step is, of what that inner voice is telling you to do, you know, and tuning into that heart space, because your intuition is in your body, it's not in your head. And so tuning into your heart space, your womb space, and really connecting with those spaces and feeling into what's good for me right now, what's good for my family, you know, because you are, as woman, as mother, as a center, you are the best advocate right now for your family. And just while not shutting down all the other information that's coming through, filtering it through and bringing it back, discarding what's not working for you, discarding what doesn't feel true, and bringing it in and feeling into how you're feeling and feeling into what's true for you and your family, and then making decisions and making you know, intentions and planting seeds and you know, moving in community and around this situation and in the globe right now, coming from your intuition, coming from your rooted sense of who you are, of your inner voice, of your inner knowing, of what's right in your bones, and making sure that you do that every day, just tuning into that space every day and really feeling into intuitively what's right for you and your family. That's really, really important to do right now, because you're your best source, you're your best resource, you're your most reliable resource right now, and you know you better than anybody. So using your intuition, you know, to make decisions is just like it's the key right now. It's really important. And so they're the 3 points I wanted to share with you today. That's kind of the work that I do. Well, it is the work as part of, you know, other things that I do in my work, as in my one-on-one sessions, as I said, and the Mother Way. And it is practices and work that I will be sharing, you know, a little bit broader with more practices. And in a broader range of areas over my 4-part mini course, which we're running from the 8th to the 11th of September. It will be a live course. I've not done anything like this before, and I'm super excited. I will put the registration details down in the comments, but you can register on my page. I am taking registrations now. It is a free course. It is a small mini course that will lead into my bigger course, which is the Mother Way course, beginning on the 22nd of September, which will be a 3-month live weekly course where we'll be going through practices and going right into these areas of the mother wound, of how to heal the mother wound, of my own experience, of my own roadmap, as well as my own you know, experience with clients, and the work that I've been doing, you know, these past 20 years. So registrations are open now. I'll put the link in the comment. Free course is beginning on the 8th and will go the 11th of September. I'd love you to join me. It'd be really great to share more practices with you, share more of the specifics about the mother wound, practices how to heal the mother wound, to move the inner conflict and that persistent sense of self-doubt, you know, and you know, feelings that you're not enough, and moving that into, you know, feeling powerful, living your potential, rooting yourself in belonging, and finding a sense of joy and freedom within, which has just been incredibly wonderful for me as a woman and as a mother, as an unmothered woman and an unmothered mother, to actually feel that I've actually been able to remother myself and find my belonging in who I am, in myself as a woman, in my family, in my community, and in my work, in my health, and also globally. So yeah, I'm excited to share. So pop your details to register in the link, and watch out for some more lives that are coming in the next couple of weeks with some really amazing women, some collaborative talks, and I'm super excited to share with you. So yeah, have a great day.